Hello, welcome back to my channel, The World of Music Mourn, the loss of an icon with the passing of Emily Cissy Houston at the age of 91. Known for her powerful voice and unparalleled contributions to gospel and rhythm and blues, R&B, Cissy Houston's legacy spans more than half a century of groundbreaking performances and artistic influence. While many may remember her as the mother of the late Whitney Houston, Cissy's own musical career stands as a towering testament to her unique talent, dedication to her craft, and deep spiritual faith. Her life was not just defined by the industry-shaking success of her famous daughter, but by her own formidable achievements as a solo artist, background singer, and mentor. As the world reflects on the loss of this monumental figure, it is clear that her impact will endure, woven into the very fabric of modern music.Born Emily Drinkard in Newark, New Jersey, on September 30th, 1933, Cissy Houston grew up in a deeply religious household. Her parents, Nicholas and Delia Mae Drinkard, were devout Baptists, and music played an essential role in their family's spiritual life. She was the youngest of 8 children, and her parents, Nicholas and Delia Mae Drinkard, were devout Baptists, and music played an essential role in their family's spiritual life. She was the youngest of 8 children, and her formative years were heavily influenced by gospel music, which laid the foundation for her illustrious career. Cissy's early immersion in gospel music began in her family's church, where the Drinkard family formed a gospel group known as the Drinkard Singers. This group included her siblings, and together they honed their harmonizing skills, performing at churches and local events. It was during this time that Cissy's vocal talents began to shine, earning her recognition not only within her community but also from gospel music legends of the time. In a family already steeped in musical tradition, Cissy's voice emerged as a beacon, setting her apart and hinting at the extraordinary career that would follow. By the late 1950s, Cissy Houston had established herself as a force to be reckoned with in the gospel scene. The Drinkard Singers had made a name for themselves beyond their local roots, performing alongside such gospel heavyweights as Mahalia Jackson and the Staple Singers. Cissy's big break, however, came when she joined the Sweet Inspirations in 1963, a vocal group that would go on to become one of the most sought-after backing ensembles in the music industry. The Sweet Inspirations became a crucial part of the 1960s and 1970s music scene. Their unmistakable harmonies supported some of the most famous artists of the era, including Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, and Dusty Springfield. One of the group's most significant contributions was their work as backup singers for Elvis Presley, accompanying him on several of his tours. Cissy Houston's time with the Sweet Inspirations not only showcased her talents as a background vocalist, but also gave her the opportunity to work with some of the biggest names in the business, solidifying her reputation in the industry. While Cissy Houston enjoyed remarkable success as part of the Sweet Inspirations, she was destined for more. In the 1970s, she embarked on a solo career, focusing on a blend of gospel, soul, and R&B. Her unique ability to fuse these genres together in a seamless way earned her critical acclaim and further cemented her place in music history. In 1970, Houston released her debut solo album, Presenting Cissy Houston, which featured the track I'll Be There and her rendition of How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. Though she faced competition from other established artists, Cissy's powerful and emotive vocal delivery stood out, drawing listeners into the deep emotion of her music. Her gospel roots were always evident even in her secular songs, and this gave her work a spiritual depth that resonated with audiences. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, she continued to release music that reflected her wide range of influences, including albums like Think It Over 1978 and Step Aside for a Lady 1980. Her solo work also led her to win 2 Grammy Awards for Best Traditional Soul Gospel Album in the 1990s for Face to Face 1996 and He Leadeth Me 1997. While her work may not have achieved the same commercial success as some of her contemporaries, Cissy Houston was a revered figure in both the gospel and secular music worlds. Her solo career demonstrated her versatility and resilience, showcasing her as more than just a background singer, but as a star in her own right. While Cissy Houston's own career was noteworthy, her influence on the next generation of musicians, especially her daughter Whitney Houston, is perhaps her most enduring legacy. Whitney Houston's rise to superstardom in the 1980s and 1990s is often attributed to Cissy's guidance and mentorship. As a mother, Cissy was instrumental in shaping her daughter's voice and career, instilling in her the discipline and vocal control that would make Whitney one of the best-selling artists of all time. The mother-daughter duo often performed together, and Cissy frequently accompanied Whitney as a background singer even after Whitney became a global superstar. Their close bond was evident in their performances, where Cissy's rich alto harmonized effortlessly with Whitney's soaring soprano. However, Cissy was always careful to let Whitney carve out her own identity in the music industry. While she provided guidance, she allowed Whitney the freedom to explore her own sound and musical direction. Cissy's influence extended beyond just vocal technique. She passed down to her daughter the values of professionalism, hard work, and an unwavering commitment to excellence, traits that defined both of their careers. Cissy was fiercely protective of Whitney and acted as both a mother and a manager during critical junctures in her daughter's career. Whitney, in turn, often cited her mother as her greatest influence and a source of strength during difficult times. The heart of Cissy Houston's career was her unwavering commitment to gospel music. Despite her success in secular music, gospel remained her true passion. Throughout her life, Cissy was deeply involved in her church and continued to perform gospel music both in and out of the religious setting. For her, music was not just a profession, it was a spiritual calling. In interviews, Cissy often spoke about the power of gospel music to heal, uplift, and inspire. She believed that her voice was a gift from God, and she used it to spread a message of hope and redemption. Even in her secular performances, her gospel roots were always present, giving her music a sense of authenticity and emotional depth that resonated with audiences. Cissy's dedication to gospel was recognized in 2010 when she received the Gospel Music Association's Dove Award for Traditional Gospel Album of the Year for her album Walk On by Faith. This was just one of many accolades she received over the course of her career, underscoring her immense contributions to the genre. Despite her professional success, Cissy Houston's life was not without hardship. The tragic death of her daughter Whitney in 2012 was an unimaginable loss that shook the world. In her memoir, Remembering Whitney, Cissy reflected on the pain of losing her child and the difficulties she faced in trying to protect her daughter from the pressures of fame. Cissy's relationship with Whitney was complex, filled with love, but also marked by the challenges that come with navigating the music industry at its highest levels. After Whitney's death, Cissy became a guardian to Whitney's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, whom the world hoped would carry on the Houston family's musical legacy. Sadly, Bobbi Kristina passed away in 2015, just 3 years after her mother, deepening the sorrow that Cissy had to bear. Despite these tragedies, Cissy Houston remained a pillar of strength. Her faith, which had been the cornerstone of her life and career, helped her endure the unimaginable grief of losing both her daughter and granddaughter. She continued to perform, albeit less frequently, and remained active in her church community. In many ways, Cissy's life was a testament to the power of faith, resilience, and the healing nature of music. Cissy Houston's passing at the age of 91 marks the end of an era in the world of music. Her voice, which once filled churches and concert halls with its soaring, gospel-infused power, is now silenced. However, her influence continues to reverberate through the countless lives she touched, not just as a performer, but as a mentor, mother and woman of faith. As the matriarch of one of music's most famous families, Cissy Houston's legacy extends far beyond her own achievements. She was a trailblazer for women in gospel and R&B, breaking barriers and setting new standards for vocal excellence. Her work with the Sweet Inspirations paved the way for generations of backup singers, and her solo career demonstrated that gospel and R&B could coexist in a way that was both commercially viable and spiritually fulfilling. Cissy Houston's legacy is reflected in the lives of those she influenced: her daughter Whitney, her extended musical family, and the countless artists who were inspired by her work. Her contribution to gospel and R&B transcends the generations, and her influence on the genre is profound. While she may no longer be with us, her music continues to live on, a timeless reminder of her extraordinary talent and spirit. In the end, Cissy Houston was much more than just a singer. She was a mother, a mentor, and a spiritual leader whose voice inspired millions. Her passing may signal the close of a chapter in music history. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.